This movie, start to finish, is a bundle of wasted potential. The lighting, sound, and cinematography created an atmosphere of unease. However, the plot goes absolutely nowhere. This film is the cinematic equivalent of being blueballed. I kept looking at my watch after the first 40 minutes, and I continued thinking, how long is this going to take to get started? After my watch hit 6:17, I lost all interest. It stopped being intriguing and became a disappointing as fuck payoff. Instead of focusing on one thing and getting it right, Resident Evil is a bloated mess that fails miserably at everything it tries. They somehow managed to take all these iconic characters and miscast them while ruining their characterization. Leon is a bumbling dumbass who couldn't even correctly deal with the scientist behind bars. I think Avon could have made a great Carlos. He looks, sounds, and even acts like him. But no, instead they make him Leon, who doesn't look or act anything like the character he plays. And he has his gun taken from him, so Claire has to save him from a single zombie. I'm guessing that more than half of his dialogue is him haphazardly dropping F-bombs. They got nothing right with Leon. For some reason, Claire and Jill's backstory are traded up, with Claire and Chris being raised by the Umbrella Corporation. Jill exists, I guess. Chris Redfield was hands down the best part of the movie, and there's a scene of him fighting off countless zombies in a dining room, with the camera pitch black. The only light provided is by the muzzle flashes, and every other scene in the film pales by contrast. I'll talk about Wesker when we get to the climax. We begin with the Redfields in Raccoon City's orphanage. Freaky shit is going on. A ghastly girl appears to Claire in her sleep. She starts seeing things, and eventually the girl jump scares her, which wakes her up from her nightmare of the orphanage. She's with the trucker from the Resident Evil 2 remake. This dumb fuck still somehow manages to hit the girl in the street. I'll be honest with you, I barely remember the first hour of this movie, and I just fucking saw it. We meet the main cast at a restaurant or something, at some point. Jill Valentine wakes up Leon by tossing something at him for a funny. None of the jokes in this movie work. They're all thrown in without thinking of tonal interference. Leon becomes nothing more than a comedic value insert. He gets made fun of by the whole cast for no reason other than the plot's inserted reason that he shot his partner in the ass during training. In the game, he volunteered due to the high crime rate to make the city better. He was competent but thrown into a hellish nightmare. I'm not going to pretend the movie is terrible from start to finish, because it's not. There's a few sprinkles of gold in the shit show. The build-up in the beginning is incredible, and the slow reveal of the zombies works excellently. But after the first half hour, the quality is in constant freefall. The build-up doesn't lead to a climax, it just falls off. There are a few bits that have no substance whatsoever. One of them's the orphanage scene with Leon, and the other's the entire mansion segment. We'll talk about the orphanage first. After a handful of useless scenes, the police chief, Leon, and Claire head back to the orphanage to escape on the underground rail system. The child from the very beginning shows up and kills two of the lickers, a monster that is blind and relies only on sound. And the way that the characters end up reacting to this is screaming and firing wildly at them, instead of trying to solve it rationally. The entirely important, necessary police chief gets killed. The child gives Claire the keys and shows them the secret exit. The whole scene feels forced in only for the sake of showing the lickers and the shaped keys. This entire segment could have been cut with little to no difference. In fact, if I remember correctly, there's an elevator in the police station that leads to the same place in the game. The Spencer Mansion, the first game setting, is entirely pointless. The only noteworthy event is the helicopter crashing, and Chris massacring zombies. I might add the aircraft was parked during the zombie attack, meaning the pilot had to start it, take off, and fly it into the mansion filled with his friends. Great job, dude. It is revealed Wesker, one of the STARS members from the diner, betrayed his friends to make money with some company that wants access to the G-Virus. He found a device with instructions to find the serum in his locker. Wesker's betrayal was half-baked and executed terribly. He runs down the hall for a few minutes and finds Birkin in his lab, being a creep. In the games, Albert Wesker worked with Birkin. He was only the head of STARS because Umbrella paid bribes and wanted access to information people outside the task force wouldn't have. Wesker helped engineer several of the viruses shown in the Resident Evil games. Albert was always lurking, in control. He killed Spencer, the mansion owner, because of all the torture and brainwashing he suffered as a kid because of them. He was also one of Umbrella's child experiments. In the movie, he's just like, money, Lamau. Not only does this have no relation to the mansion, virus, or anything going on in the movie, He might as well not be in the story at all. I can't help but wonder why every character in this feels like a bastardization of their video game counterparts. The confrontation at the end makes everything worse. He shoots Dr. Birkin in front of his wife and daughter while taking a shot to the chest. Birkin's wife spins a gun trying to kill Wesker, and he caps her. And based on his reaction, it was entirely on accident. He then tries to find the daughter. This dumb shit kills two of them, and then goes, "Hey, come on out, it'll be okay." Jill shoots him, and the two have a friendly conversation while he bleeds on the floor. Afterwards, he's like, "I wouldn't have killed the girl," and then dies. Being a real homie, Chris tries to get his body out, but it'll slow them down too much to escape the town before it's bombed. Oh yeah, the B-plot I forgot to mention. For reasons, the entire city will be blown up at 6 a.m. They keep periodically showing the time to let you know how long until the bomb goes off throughout the movie. It adds nothing to the film and tries to create tension where there is none. Anyways, I'm done with my rant. Birkin mutates from the G-virus he injects himself with conveniently as a last-ditch effort to survive. He gets blasted and they leave. Everyone hops on the train and has a happily ever after. Psych! Birkin turns into an even scarier monster and leaps onto the train. The whole interaction lasts about 45 seconds. Leon shoots an RPG into his face, with his friends in the blast radius. The writers don't fucking care. Not only did they have access to two of the greatest games of all time, but they took the bare minimum from both and executed neither properly. This concept was doomed from the start. Trying to shove two games into a single 1 hour, 47-minute movie was a huge fucking blunder. The only substantial parts were the zombie effects, and Chris's one good scene. I wish I could say watch this, but it isn't worth the money, or time, for a fan or a casual moviegoer. Play Resident Evil 2 Remake instead. It's longer, better, and leaves a lasting impact that isn't a migraine.